So this Newbies live workshop is all about what's new at Sunlight in 2023. When should you place your order? Right now, we have sales starting today. Yes. So do you want to order now? Do you want to order later on? So we'll give you our guidance and feedback on that, our suggestions based on what we would do. So if you have not gotten your catalog yet, the print catalogs, I just got mine in Colorado yesterday. They were printed off, I believe, February 13th. So if you requested one before that, you should be getting it soon if you're in the United States. If you're outside of the US, it might be a little bit longer because they did go directly from the printer. But if you have not requested one yet, go to sunlight.com/catalog and request that if you want a paper one. Otherwise, you can go straight to our website and download that now. And you can see all the same information.
My son told me that ours came in yesterday and we're in Alabama. So I am not in Alabama right now, but he said my catalog came in a nice brown wrapper. So, yes.
Oh, nice. Yours was wrapped. Mine was not. Mine was just in the mailbox, but it's definitely something I look forward to. And I know for me, just being able to look at it, even though I can see it on the computer, it does make it easier to see and find the information you're looking for. So if that's something that you prefer, definitely do that. Also, the What's New page, we're going to be referencing that a lot because that's where you can find all the details about different things. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I want to hear more about the changes between K and A or something like that, you can go to that page. We've got it both in text format. We've got videos. It's very visual as well. So you can see photos and try to figure out what you're looking at. So that is sunlight.com/contact/curriculum updates/what's new. But if that's very long, we'll put it in the comments after. But if you're trying to find it easier, just go to sunlight.com, type in the search bar, what's new, and then click on what's new at Sunlight. It's going to bring you to a page that's going to show you all these things we're going to talk about. So I did want to focus a little bit, Johna, on K and A. I think this one's confusing to people, and we have received questions about it. Can you lightly touch on what is happening with K and A? Is 2023 A the same as 2022 K, or what should customers do if they ordered like K this past year and they were ready to move on to A? What should they do?
Right. So the last year or two, we have heard from our customers that have said they felt like the K history was just a little more intense than the A history. And so what Sunlight did is, one, we listened to our users, and two, we took the history in the Bible that were in K, not all the read alouds, but the history portion in the Bible, and moved it to A, and then did the same thing and moved the A back down to the K level. So if you ordered K in 2022, you're actually going to want to order the A 2022 version. And we're keeping those available next year. So there's going to be two different, this is where it gets confusing, two different A packages, but that's for you who started in K 2022 and you want to do the next package. We have that package still available for you. But if you are brand new, we've done the swap for you so that your levels are going to be right where your children are. We've listened to our customers and they've just asked us to make that change. And so we did. And it's just the Bible portion and the history portion, not the read alouds, not the language arts or anything like that. Just those two things swapping around.
Yeah, so I would encourage you, if you're confused or if you have a partial package because you did K this year or you did A, double check with the advisors and just make sure, does my cart look okay? That's always an option available for everybody, but especially if you're confused, we want to make sure that you get what you're looking for. But if you are ready for one of those next packages, if you did K and you want to move up to A, you want to order it in the next 3 days because you're going to get it cheaper now than you will even next month when it is still available. So,
and you should have gotten an email. Like if you ordered A or K, you should have gotten an email alerting you about the swap and that you and the links to order the right package for yourself.
Yeah, and if you're looking at choosing your next package too, the scope and sequence has been updated as well. That's this beautiful chart and catalog. It's available on the website as well. So if your kids are older than this and K and A don't really impact you much, but you're trying to figure out maybe for future orders what to do, go to that What's New page, and you'll be able to see all of that information there so you can figure that out. Now, let's talk about online guides. We are working on videos for these, but we do not have them yet. And I know there have been a ton of questions. Johna, can you give us a little insight into what's coming with online guides and when they will be available?
I know that they are coming. I know that they are not released yet, but we are actively and eagerly working on them. And they're going to be right now exactly what you have at home on your printed. It's going to be your online, and there will be, I guess the easiest way is that you'll have your same guide that you get to look at, but now you can record what your children are doing. You can put in assessments, or you could upload or write in what your child did to kind of tick your days off and keep a record. It's kind of a record keeping online guide only. The future plan would be more, but right now we're taking our baby step, and we're secure and going forward that this is our next thing, and it's coming. It'll be out by fall. It is not going to be available for the 2022 guides. So if you really want just to stick with the 2022, they're not going to be available. It will only be the 2023 guides and going forward.
Yeah, and you'll want to keep an eye on that page on the website. You will be able, just like with our regular IGs, you can download 3-week samples of those. With the online, you'll be able to do a week-long
1 week
trial. Yes. Of
right.
The
online is just 1 week.
Yes. So you will still have access to take a look, though, if you're kind of on the fence about, do I want to buy this? Do I not? Like Johna said, it is the 2023 guides. So if you're getting a 2022 guide, don't even worry about it. Again, order this month, get all the March freebies, get the lowest prices. And today through Friday, that's the 1st or the 3rd, that's our ASP all subjects package sale. Also coming in 2023, and I don't know if I mentioned it yet or not, all of these products will be available starting on March 30th for the 2023 packages. We have an updated Science E. So if you've been around Sunlight the last few years, you know we've been updating all of our science packages in those early elementary years, and E is the new one this year. We're also adding poetry notes, and I've seen some questions about poetry notes. Is it going to be in a 2022 IG? Is it not? Some of those were updated previously, but not all. Johna, what advice do you give about that?
So the new poetry notes have been added throughout all our levels. They are just simple notes. Just maybe you read this poem and it talks about a tree. Let's look at trees. It's not an in-depth with your kids. You can go as in-depth as you want with your children, but it's a springboard to help you guys just have a bigger conversation about poetry. For years, we have read our poetry books, but not had all the notes with it, not the rhyming schemes or anything identified. It's just been, let's, expose our children to it. But now we just added a couple of little simple questions here and there to help bring our poetry a fullness to the poetry so that you guys can get more out of it than what you were before.
Absolutely.
And it's in all the levels. So
yeah, it's in all the levels. So yeah, you may have a level that had some added poetry notes. You may just have a few things that were there before. But if you want to guarantee you're going to have those notes, 2023 is where you're going to want to go. Also, we had changes to level 100. That was probably the package that got the biggest change. The history spine changed along with several of the books. Oh, there we go. Johna's got the new history spine. So before we used History of Us, and that's the program I'm actually doing right now. So what I would suggest, if you're trying to figure out, do I update it? Do I not? Go look at, the current package, the 2022 package, and then go to that What's New page and look at the books that are being swapped out and kind of decide based on that what you want to do. We think we've made the program even better with this change. And so it'll be totally different, but I also don't think you can go wrong with a Sunlight package. So it's going to be a matter of your own tastes and opinions on whether or not you want to make that switch. But we do have that chart on the What's New page. It's going to show you exactly which books have been removed and then which ones have been added in their place. Right. And that's actually true of every level, not just 100, but that's the one that got the biggest level. We also have added books to almost every Bible level. Johna, can you talk a little bit about that real quick?
So part of the focus on doing all the extra Bible was we're in a day and age where apologetics, we want to see more apologetics in our Bible for our children. And so they have come out with a couple of books. Like every level has extra books, extra reading for you as a family. And some of these books are created as a parent to read and then have the discussion with the kids, but we feel that they are easy enough reads, non-controversial, that you can read aloud with your student and have the conversation as you're reading. So it's not a prep for you, mom and dad, prior to doing schoolwork with your kids. It has really been vetted by Sarita, and just she's very passionate about us upgrading our Bible curriculum to have a more apologetics into what our kids are learning, so that they grow up to know what their faith is, not necessarily what mom and dad's faith is. They have a reasoning for what they believe.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to see more of those books, again, on the What's New page, we have a video there where I talk to Rhonda a little bit more, and she shows some of the books that are included. And again, that book chart is going to show you in, I want to say, almost every level. There's maybe one or two Bible books that have been swapped out or added. So you'll want to look at that to determine, do you want the 2022 package, or do you want to go ahead and get the 2023 new package?
And I think in the January podcast with your chat with Sarita, one of the books that was to be a reference, here's an idea book for you to read, now is one of our books that we read and we put in the Bible curriculum. And she really speaks her heart on why it's important for us to have it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. Yeah. So we have the Chat with Sarita episodes of our Chat with Sunlight podcast. If you have not found that yet or discovered that yet, you get to hear directly from her book recommendations and why she's chosen different books. And you're correct, Johna. Yeah, one of them is a Bible book that at the time when we recorded it was I'd like to make this change. And now it is an official change for 2023. So let's talk about purchasing now in the ASP sale. I know that's something that I've always loved to take advantage of for my older child who gets the brand new ASP. But sometimes you want the new versions that are coming in the new year in April. So what are some things people should consider? Do they have to place one big order? Can they make multiple orders? What's the best way for them to stack their savings and still get, the packages they want?
Usually if the package you're going to go to is not having a major upgrade, that right now is the best idea to go. And I would do an all subjects package I had 4 children. So I often was buying, like I was upgrading a package maybe, and I was buying a new package for the oldest ones. But buy an all subjects package and make that complete so that you get this sale. And then if you need to wait for the new items, put those off until, March 30th at this point. So you can make them and make as many orders as you want. But once you buy your ASP, you're ready to go. You're wanting to get it all in and make it all happen. I know somebody very wisely last year, she bought the new package for her oldest, but I think you upgraded the D last year, so you could do that package. So yeah.
Yeah, so I could use last year as an example. So my kids currently are doing 100 and D. Well, last year 100 did not change at all. So I bought that in the March sale. I got the biggest savings on that all subjects package. My older child always gets the all subjects package because she's the first one going through it. But I do like to buy any new updates for my younger child because they're 5 years apart. So this is something kind of way out. Are your kids close in age, or do you have a wide spread? Maybe your oldest is 12 when your youngest is born. You might want to update by the time the youngest one comes through it. And so then he is doing D. Well, D was the package last year that got a huge overhaul, a brand new science, several new books. So what I did is I updated my IG, my instructor's guide, using the 50% off repurchase discount, which if you have purchased your instructor's guides from Sunlight in the past, whether that was an individual purchase or part of an ASP or HBL or anything like that, you can repurchase whatever the latest and greatest version of that instructor's guide is for 50% off. And then I just went through and grabbed the individual books that were going to be new for him. So I purchased for my daughter in March, my son March 30th, April 1st, whatever the day was last year, got all of his updated things. But then I did do like any workbooks that were not going to change for him. So like his math workbooks, his handwriting workbooks, any of those consumable products. I also bought those in March just because I knew I was guaranteed to get lower prices from the year before. So that's something to be aware of as well. Your 2022 prices are guaranteed to be cheaper in March than if you buy the exact same package or same item. So math, handwriting, anything like that in 2023, those prices could go up after March 30th. So that's something to be aware of. If you're here in the US and you have your Sunlight Cares benefits tied to your ASP or your HBLs or anything like that, you're going to get free shipping. So that's why I say break it up and do whatever is going to be the best deal. If you are international, you're going to have to weigh out the cost of shipping. We understand and we know that shipping around the world can make that purchase even more expensive. So I would look at trying to consolidate to one order, whatever is going to be the best for you. I like to drop things in the cart and actually see the numbers and the math work its way out to make sure that I truly am getting the best deal. But you will want to weigh that consideration if you're not in the US because you won't have the free shipping option.
But maybe you could find a friend who also wants to order Sunlight if you live overseas, and you can share some shipping there.
So. Absolutely. Yeah. And I know some of our customers in like Canada or Mexico have a friend within the US and they just drive over the border to get their books. I don't know what that looks like, but that might be an option for you.
That's beyond my math.
Yeah. And I mean, if you are an international customer, you kind of know what you're going to have to do from a shipping standpoint as well. But just be aware that, you don't have to do it all in one order. But if you want the lowest prices, buy in March. And if you're getting an all subjects package, do it the next few days. Johna, let's talk about all subjects packages though, because sometimes we get a question like, oh, I don't need math or I don't want this. Can I still do this?
I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, we need to define what an all subjects package is.
Oh yeah, let's explain.
You're getting all the subjects. So you're going to get your HBL. That's your primary, your big rock with a Sunlight package. You're going to get your language arts and you'll add in supplementary. So if you're third grade and up, you're going to add spelling in there. You're going to have a math curriculum that we've added from Sunlight in there for you. And you'll have science. And then your math can be a level up, I believe. It does not have to be a full set. So you can do a level up, I believe, to count as your ASP, but you're still buying math in there as well. And obviously science. And you'll want the science kit and all the things that go with it. But all those things make your all subjects package. Now, I think it's the recommended resources that are not required, and they tell you recommended versus required when you check out. Those are like, you're not required to have an Explode the Code book to make an all subjects package. That could be omitted.
Yeah. And also on our website, when you go to place your order, we have like our recommended ASPs. You mentioned math, which made me think about it. But Sunlight carries 6 math programs. So you may not want to use the recommended math, or like you said, maybe you have a child who's advanced and they're a level up from that original ASP. On the website, you'll have several different drop downs to choose from. So if you're picking a level, you'll then get to choose the level for readers, level for language arts, level, or math program that you want to do. So you can still fully customize those ASPs. Just make sure you're watching on the website. Like, do I have every piece needed for it to be considered an ASP? Because if you don't, you won't get those discounts. But again, if you have questions, advisors and customer service, they have been ready today, and they have been answering questions and resolving anything coming up. So if you ever at any point have a question, hey, I don't think my discount applied correctly, I don't think I have all my pieces, what do I need? They can walk you through that. Just know that it is ASPs. So it's got to be all subjects, and you'll save 25% on that. Our HBLs are always 15% off. So if you're just doing an HBL, it will be 15% off, but there's no additional discount on that. So let's move to customer questions. We did get a few in the app yesterday, and I have my questions too small. Hold on, let me blow that up a little bit so that I can read it. Okay, so this is from Jasada, and she said, I did A this year and want to do K with a younger child, but now K is A. Can I just buy the history books and do an online KIG?
You will be able to 2023 do a KIG, but you have the option to go and buy what is the 2022 K. So you would have all new books for K, doing it with the younger one. Is that, yeah, you said you were doing A, so you would want to go back to K. Yes.
And like John and I mentioned earlier, K and A, we didn't swap them everything. The history and Bible was swapped, but the read alouds are the same. Right. So if you try, so K is not technically A, just K's history and Bible is now A, but the read alouds are different. So my suggestion to you would be to buy the 2022 package that you did not do, which appears to be K. And then down the line, you may have the option to, upgrade just the IG piece and do the online with that, whatever the new version is. But I would hate for you to buy a package that has the exact same read alouds you already have, or you miss certain read alouds. So my suggestion would be go ahead and just get the K 2022 ASP for that student. And then, like I said, down the line, you may have an option to get the online IG, but I would not let that end up pushing you towards buying the wrong package, if that makes sense.
You should be able to, when you're online, there's an option to see what you've already bought. Mm-hmm. So if I bought A and for 2022, and I used all that. Now I'm looking at the K, and I'm not sure if I have the right K package. Look to see if you already have books that you've already bought. And the website should highlight. So like if you have the wrong, like the new K package that would have some of the A books, it's going to highlight, and you're going to be, this is not the one I want. And then always use our advisors. Mm-hmm. I love talking to our advisors. And even after 20 years of ordering, I often would call them and say, I need you to check my cart, make sure I got what I needed, because I mess up, and that's okay. I mean, I want the affirmation that I got the right order, instead of on the back end getting it and then going, oh, this is not what I wanted. Just taking 5 minutes with an advisor to have them check your cart will help a whole lot of headaches.
I agree. And I love that you said that, because I actually this year have already talked to customer service about my discounts to see what's the best option for me. And I have talked to an advisor about what to do with my younger child for spelling. So even though I think I know what I'm going to do, it's nice to have that confirmation from the advisors, from customer relations, because they really, they're in there doing it day in and day out. So don't be scared to contact them. That is a free service, and they are more than willing to help. Also, if you have questions and you're looking for suggestions, of course, right here in the app, you can hear what other Sunlight parents have done, and then also what Johna and I and the other mentors have done, because we've all been around Sunlight for a while now. So we know what we've done from year to year and different changes. Here's another one about the online IGs. I know people are excited about this, and we don't have quite as much information out there yet. This one says, how do the online IGs work? I noticed math schedules mentioned in the new online platform. So does that mean I now have to pay for the math schedules and no longer get them in my downloads folder? How much are the online IGs with an ASP and without? And I do have numbers, so don't worry, Johna, about...
I was like, oh, no. Your math schedule, you should still be able to download a math schedule. Those are just part of your downloads. When you make an order, they become part of your download options. So you can download a printed PDF of your math schedule. So that's not going away for you. They are including math, I believe, into your IGs. And I do not believe that it's an additional fee for your math schedule.
So actually it is if you want to be able to upload like math work that your student has done. So you'll have the option with the online guides. Of course, anything Sunlight makes like HBL, science, or language arts, you'll have access to the guide. But then you'll also be able to upload like your students' science worksheet, their math work. For that, if you are doing like a true math add-on, then there will be a charge, and I'll talk about that in a second. But anything that's in your downloads, it's a free download, that schedule, that's just something we provide. It's not one of our instructors' guides, so it's a little different. As far as actual costs, you have different options with the online guides. So you can either just get the online guide. So if you don't want the paper guide, you can purchase those. That's the one number I don't have exactly, but I think it's about $89, $90 per IG if you just want the online version. But then if you want online access with an HBL, science, language, arts, or math package that you've purchased, those are $29 each. So that's definitely your best value. You'll still get your paper instructor's guide, but then you can add on the online version as well if you want access to both. Or if you're getting an all subjects package, you can get all the online guides for all of your paper guides for $114. So that's going to be something that, we won't get rid of the paper IGs ever. I saw a question about that. And I know I really like having a paper IG because I can erase and redo things and you don't have to worry about internet access. But if you want the internet access on top of it, the ability to keep grades and track attendance and things a little easier, especially if you have a cover school, maybe that you have to submit records to, it's $29 per individual IG or $114 for all of them.
I was going to say, and I think the online guides are going to be a great tool for families who have cover schools or they live in states that require, proof of what you did and proof of what your child's done. Because you're going to be able to take a snapshot picture of your child's handwriting and just put it in as what they did for the day. And it's all there for you. And it's all organized and easy to give to somebody, here's proof of what my child did.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know those of you that are international, you've mentioned shipping an instructor's guide. That's a big, heavy cost that now you won't have to worry about if you just want the online version. And Johna, you mentioned it too, that those will be expanded over the years. So they'll include more features each year as they come out. So that's a constantly evolving product that we will keep improving and keep adding to. And like I said earlier, we will have a video series kind of walking you through them, hopefully soonish on the website or on YouTube so that you're able to see, how do I use these? What do they look like? Is it going to be totally different?
Because they're not available right now at all. But it's coming, and we promise it's coming, and it's well in the works. So
yes. So that'll be available for 2023. That's a great point as well. Yeah, online guides don't even really matter as far as the ASP sale right now because they won't be available to the end of the month. Now we have a question.
I saw a question. I don't know if you saw that. Somebody was asking, how long will the 2022 versions of HBL for K and A be available? So like if you ordered last year and you want to go on, or if you want to go ahead and get the ASP A this year, can I get the K next year? I believe the plan was to keep them for a couple of years available, and then that would be it. So just enough for you to make that transition.
Yes, because eventually we do want everyone on the updated scope and sequence just to make everybody's life easier. You won't have the headache of, did I order the right package, any of that? Which reminds me, consumables. We had a question about this too. Okay. If you are doing a package with a child now and you didn't order extra consumables for their younger sibling when you bought them, do you have access if that guide is being changed? And so we do keep back, is it 2 years, Johna?
I believe it's 2 years.
Yeah, but you won't see that on the website that I'm aware of. So you will want to reach out to an advisor or customer service. Hey, I purchased my program in 2021 and I forgot to get extra worksheets. Can I get the worksheets so my younger child can reuse it? And I mentioned I always use the 50% repurchase discount. I've got a nice big 5-year gap. So by the time I realized I didn't have consumables, I was like, oh, they're not even available. And if you purchased that IG, you can make any copies you need to as well. So we have families that make copies for younger siblings. But I have found I love the updates. I love the new books. I have serious book FOMO. And so I want the new books anyway. So that's an option there too. You don't have to worry about, oh no, now I can't teach the younger child now because I didn't get everything I needed.
But also, if you upgrade, like I had 9 years between my kids, I have 4 kids. And if I bought for the first one, by the time I got to kid number 3, if I upgraded, she wasn't getting everybody's hand me downs. It was
Mhm.
like a brand new package for her. And so it was nice for her as well. And it was very inexpensive in the scheme of everything for me to just upgrade the IG, get a few of the books that had changed. And she felt like she was getting a new package.
I was going to say, I love that with younger siblings. Yeah, they don't want to just feel like they're getting old stuff. And so, yeah, when you can add a few new books in, and I've done that every year. And I would say the most was my D overhaul last year. Typically, it's only going to be like 3 to 5 books probably that you're updating even years later. So I saw that question kind of recently. Does Sunlight revamp everything all the time? No. we always revamp something, but it's probably not going to be exactly the package you're looking at every single year. So no worries there. Somebody said, I want to order before the new curriculum comes out. So that would be before March 30th. Will the poetry notes already be in the IGs, or would I have to wait for the new curriculum? Or is that something extra that comes in your downloads?
The poetry notes are now part of the literature or language arts, and it's coming out with the 2023. So
yes. So unless
wait.
They were already added. I know, like I said, some programs kind of loosely
There's
added.
a couple.
Yeah, but not all of them. They are not going to come in your 2022 packages. So you would want to wait, until 2023 for that. Again, we talked about the poetry notes. They're more like our read aloud notes, like suggestions, vocabulary words, some parts of poetry. But if that's something that you would rather just read the poetry and enjoy, that's not going to impact you all that much anyway. And I know same thing with readers read alouds. We have some people that do every single thing in there and then others that don't. So just kind of, again, like we talked about book changes, it's going to be a matter of preference for you. Do you feel like you need those notes? If that is the only thing being updated in your package, you may or may not find that something that you need to update this year, but maybe you do. So that option is available to you.
I was going to say something that's added. I don't know if this is probably the next thing you were going to. The high school language art or high school literature, they added rubrics into into the guides. It gives you a rubrics for grading the creative writing or the creative expressions throughout the high school levels. And so that's something that's also coming in the new that's not in the old. So
yes, and my understanding, it's been updated to the latest like SAT guidance.
Yes.
I know doing 100 this year, we have like old SAT guidelines in there. And so my understanding is all of the high school programs now will have that updated so that if you have kids in that age getting ready to take the SAT or the ACT, it's all current. It's not 10 years ago or anything like that. I did mention too earlier the IG samples. If you want to look at an IG, that's at sunlight.com/homeschool/curriculum/samples. Again, if you just go to sunlight.com and type in the search bar instructor's guide samples, it will take you to a link that will show you all of that, but you can download the first 3 weeks of any of our instructor's guides. So if you're kind of on the fence, you've looked at the book list and you've said, okay, I've seen what books are changing, but how's that going to impact my IG? What do I want to do? Go look at those IG samples. That's something I do every year is, okay, well, let me see what the current IG is. How's it going to look like? Even though I've used Sunlight forever and I know kind of a general IG, if you're looking at specific books and how are they scheduled in there, Bible, for example, or something like that, go and look at those IG samples to help you make decisions because you get the first 3 weeks there. So you can see, okay, do I want the current package or do I want the new package?
And you can download every single one you want. There's not a limit. Like you don't have to just do one math or one history. You get it all. So not that you get it math anyway, but that's my favorite subject.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about that, like considerations. I saw a question. Actually, I think it was a message that I got in the app that I haven't answered yet, but I did see it. Asking about choosing your level for next year. I know we've talked about like, if you know your level, do I want 2022 or do I want 23? But if you don't quite know what level or levels you want to use, what are some things to kind of figure that out, or how would you suggest going about that?
So I would go and look at the HBL description that gives me my age range for my child, and I would look to my oldest and figure out where they're going to fit in. So my oldest were 2 years apart, and so I always put them in the same HBL together. And so we did for the oldest, and the youngest caught up with us. That was how we did it. And then the next one, she was always on her own. And then that last one, he was always on his own. So at the very end, I did 3 HBLs, so, but we cater to the oldest because it's easier to fit them in. And then there's always, everyone has a different opinion on how to fit them in, but that's why there's an age range, because history is not skill specific. It is content that we're looking at. And so you can use that for an older one and a younger one and still get, they're going to get 2 different things out of the same story, but the youngest one's going to come back around and learn that history again, because we cycle through it 3 times. So you don't have to worry. Well, I see a lot of moms that are worried that their first grader or their second grader did not, or they don't feel like are comprehending everything. They know more than what we think that they do. And just know that the next time you revisit this topic in Sunlight, they're going to remember all those stories. And all of a sudden there's going to be things clicking and attaching in their memories, and they're going to know more and go deeper than you ever thought they would.
Yeah, absolutely true. Use the age ranges. Like we said, there's no one set. Your first grader has to be doing this. Your third grader has to be doing this. I learned that the hard way when Sunlight added K and shifted the scope and sequence. I was like, oh, well, my firstborn did this level at this age, so I'm going to do that again. And now here I am stretching 2 programs over 3 years because my younger child was not ready. So just be aware of those age ranges. Do not push them too far. You will see that a lot when you say, oh, well, my child's a great reader. Due to content and volume and things like that, we will recommend that you still stick within the age ranges. But if you have questions about combining kids, or maybe you've been teaching your oldest and now your youngest is school age and you've already done these levels with the older child, but you want to combine them, anything like that, drop it in the app for us. Reach out to the advisors. We will give you usually 1 to 2, sometimes more suggestions of what might work for you now, what might work for you in the future, so that you can maximize, what are you going to be able to use that ASP for? That is one of the advantages to literature-based, is you do get to reuse it all again, but we do want to make sure that you're using it at the right age for those kids, just so that you don't have to have uncomfortable conversations, or they're just not retaining anything earlier than you want to.
That's true. I was going to say, you don't want to put a third grader and put them up in F with your older child. You're going to want to bring them back down and keep them where they're at. So not that F's bad. I just was thinking of the gap.
Yeah, that's more 6th grade level versus 3rd grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Yeah, use the age ranges. Some people like to have their kids on the older end, because my kids have always been Sunlight kids. They've always been on the younger end, but they're still now back within the range of where they're supposed to be, based on their age and all of that. So also 4-day, 5-day. I've seen a lot of questions about that recently. If you're on
I'm a fan of 4-day and buying the 5-day books to go with my curriculum. I am from back in the day when we only had a 5-day schedule, and we made it a 4-day schedule so that we would have a day to run errands or a day to be in a co-op or do things with friends. But I'm a fan of 4-day, but buying the extra books for 5-day for when my avid reader needs something extra, I could put something else in their hands. 5-day, if you're not in an area where you have a community that you can go and do, or you are a year-round schooler, a 5-day might be a good option where you still can do your days off because you're going to go year-round. But then you have a very full, very rich curriculum to give your kids all year.
Yeah, so don't think that you're not getting the same value or the same level of education if you're doing 4-day. I know some people are like, oh, I'm going to miss things. No, 4-day is still excellent. 5-day is just above and beyond. So if you have a very advanced student, like Johna said, if you're schooling over a longer time period, if you just want more books, and she mentioned you can get just the books too. So if you want to add those in for summer reading, or books that you give your child when they say, okay, I've already read all my school books, you can do that as well.
Here's another one.
Yeah. They're both great. I told you all I have book FOMO, so I do like those 5-day books so that I can have every book. And then even programs I'm done with, I always sit there and I'm like, oh, should I get that book that I didn't get to read, just because I love all the books? But
I actually just ordered one I haven't read yet.
There you go. Yeah. So that's always an option too. I'm not seeing any more questions, but if you have questions, definitely post them in the replay. Let us know what you're thinking or debating between, and we will help you out. We'll give you our guidance, our thoughts on it. You can hear several parents chime in. If you're trying to figure out which books are absolutely do not miss, Sunlighters have lots of opinions on that as well. So, Johna, thank you so much for going over this with me. In the replay, we'll also drop these links we talked about to IG samples, what's new page, all of that. So if you're not watching this live, you can click on those links and get directly there. But like I said, if you have any questions or need any more information before you place your order, let us know. And if you want to take advantage of that ASP all subjects package sale, do it between now and the 3rd.